Now I have some practice for you to try. I would recommend starting with breaking down each radical and simplifying it and seeing if you can reconstruct them and simplify them before you multiply straight across. Sometimes if you want to multiply straight across, it works out perfectly fine. But try both methods and see what you get. Okay, let's check those. So for practice A, we have 14 times 28. So I don't even know what 14 times 28 is off the top of my head. So instead of trying to do that, we are going to just go ahead and break this down. So this would be 7 and 2. This would be 7 and 4. Now the good thing about this is that the square root of 4 is a perfect square already. So again, we can reconfigure these. So I'm going to combine the 7s and then the square root of 2. And we already know that the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm going to put that in the front. Okay, so just to make a note of that. The square root of 4 is 2. So we're going to put that in the very front. So that's 2 square root of 49 square root of 2. And the square root of 49 is 7. And 2 times 7 is 14. So we have 14 square root 2. All right, for B, this is one where you could multiply straight across if you wanted to, because if you did that, you would get the square root of 12 times 3, which is the square root of 36, which is 6. Now, if you didn't do it that way, that's fine. I would say this is 4 and 3, and then you just have the square root of 3 there. All right, so at this point, we could keep on going, and there are different ways you could do this. You could have done 6 and 2 instead. You're going to end up with the same answer at the very end. So this would be 2 times the square root of 3 times 3, which would be 2 times the square root of 9, which is 2 times 3, which gives us 6. So any way you do it, you should end up with the same answer at the end. All right, C and D. So C, 24 times 8. Again, I don't know that off the top of my head. So if I can't do it in my head from the very beginning, it's probably not a perfect square. So it would take a lot of work for the guessing and checking. So we're just going to break them apart from the beginning. So you could pick 12 and 2. I'm going to pick 6 and 4 just because I know 4 is already a perfect square. And same thing with 8. I'm going to pick 4 and 2 because I know 4 is a perfect square. All right, so I'm going to reconfigure these. So I'm going to multiply the 4's together, and then I'm going to multiply the 6 and the 2 together. All right, so the square root of 4 times 4 is the square root of 16, and then we have the square root of 12. So this is 4 square root of 12. Now we're not quite done here because 12 can be broken down again to 4 times 3. So I'm going to do that to keep on simplifying. So that would be 4 times 2 square root 3. So that's 8 square root 3. And finally, part D, we could multiply straight across. That would give us 4,800, which is, again, really big, not a perfect square. So we're just as well to start with multiplying, factoring from the very beginning. So let's see, 120. I'm just going to pick 12 and 10 because I know I can also break down a 10 out of the 40. So that would be square root 4 times square root 10. All right, so I'm going to combine the 10s. And we already know that the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm going to put that in front. And then we have that square root of 12. Okay, so that's 2 times the square root of 100 times the square root of 12. So that's 2 times 10 square root of 12. and that gives us 20 square root of 12, but again, we're in that same situation where we can break this down to 4 times 3 again. All right, so if you notice that up here, you could go ahead and make that 4 and 3 if you wanted to. It doesn't matter where you do it as long as you keep simplifying at some point. So this would be 20 square root 4 square root 3. So that's 20 times 2 square root 3. So we get 40 square root 3 is our final answer.